سنتي ما قال النبي هو الصحيح نكاح مبارك نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي ما قال النبي هو الصحيح نكاح مبارك
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another episode where we will continue to talk about the rulings of the khutbah, the engagement, in the series Marriage and Divorce. With me here is our Shaykh Haitham Al Haddad, who currently resides in the UK and is on the board of the Islamic Sharia Council of Britain. He's also the founder of the website www.islam21c.com. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let's continue on the topic of the khutbah. We've defined it, but maybe the best translation is the engagement period, possibly.
Maybe.
We want to talk about what is allowed during this period after the khutbah is done. What can be done, what cannot be done. For example, can they talk over the phone? Is chatting by text messages, going out in public, is all this allowed?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. See, again, I want to be careful about terminologies. You call it engagement, you call it khutbah, I don't know, there might be some other terminologies. We are talking about a promise to get married. Okay? And we are talking about the period between the formal promise was given by the wali, by the family of the sister, and the actual marriage. The actual marriage means the contract. Either the written contract or the actual meeting in which, for example, in the scenario where we were talking about you said, I accepted to marry so and so, and she says, I accept to marry so and so. That is called aqdun nikah. Yeah, the nikah aqd, the nikah contract. Whether it is written or verbal, it doesn't matter. We are talking about that period. So during that period, you are a stranger to the sister, and the sister is a stranger to you. Full stop. That will cover all the questions that you mentioned. She is, again, that might be shocking for many brothers and sisters. She is like any lady in the street. You, with regards to her, are like any person in the street. All what you have between both of you, that her wali promised you to get married to her in the future. That's it. Are you allowed to speak to a sister in the street? Then this is what I mean, that she is a stranger to you. Can you speak to a sister in the street? Well, sister, you know, I missed you. Can you say this? Or your neighbor, a woman, your neighbor, you know her. And you say, well, sister, really, I missed you. Can you say this? No. Okay, you can't say this. Can she tell you, Brother Daniel, where you been? You left to India. I really missed you. Now, the word missing, okay, I missed you, you missed me, normally it has a romantic connotation. Agree or not?
I agree.
Can you do this between you and any other lady? Can I do this to my neighbor? No, I can't. So, can I say to my neighbor, where you been? I really missed you. Can you say to your neighbor or to your colleague at work, or where you been? I really missed you. Or she said, a lady, yeah? Oh, Brother Daniel, mashallah, you came back. Where you been? You been to India? Yes, I've been to India. I really missed you. You know, in English, the word I missed you between the opposite gender means, okay, it has some romantic connotation. Now, same thing is applied to your fiancé, if the word fiancé is the correct translation, okay, to your makhtuba. The same thing is applied on her. Now, the very common question is, Okay, I want to discuss with her things related to the marriage, related to our future. Can I speak to her formally? Yeah, not in a romantic way. You can. But she is what? A stranger to you.
And the wali must be present.
Not necessarily.
No.
The wali has to give his permission. Otherwise, he will see that you are cheating on his back. Yeah? No. Now, I remember that when I was preparing for this lecture and I was previously preparing for the course, I came across two contradictory fatwas by two prominent scholars from Saudi Arabia. Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala said, yes, you can talk to her regarding the marriage, the future, etc., what you want to plan. And Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen said, no, yeah, you don't do this. Now, some people, they were adamant that Ibn Baz's opinion is the best opinion. The other scholars or the other people said, no, Ibn Uthaymeen is very conservative opinion, etc. No. They mean different things. Sheikh Ibn Baz is talking about, generally speaking, the man can talk to a woman, even if she is not mahram to him. Formal discussion, provided that the custom allows this. Okay? Now, in the UK, we speak to women all the time. Yeah? It is our intention. And what leads to, or what is attached to this. I buy and sell the ticket, the train ticket, for example. You know, a police officer, a lady police officer, came to the house, I speak to her, and so on. It is not a big issue. But it depends on me. It depends on the female. Are we talking with an issue of shahwa? Do I look at her with lust? This is the key issue. So Sheikh Ibn Baz was speaking about the general ruling that this is allowed. There is no problem with this. Now, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen said, realistically, this discussion normally leads to fitna. And to be honest with you, that is the case. A young brother, he was waiting to get married. And then he found this sister. And really, she's pretty attractive. And for him, she's the best lady in the world. Before marriage, of course. After marriage, things change. So, he wants just to see her name. Yeah? This is how romantic he will be. So, he will just maybe search her name just to ask any silly question, just to justify for himself that he is talking formally. So, he might just search in order to see her name. Yeah? Salma. Yeah, Salma. Okay, I want to send her a message. It should be a formal message. Now, shall I say Salamu alaikum, alaikum salam? Yes, Salamu alaikum. Okay? Then, what are you going to do with the future? Come on. This is just a question in order to justify for yourself a discussion. Anyway, the matter is clear. She is a stranger, you are a stranger, then you need to fear Allah Jalla wa Ala. If there are things that you really need to discuss, discuss them, provided that, again, the wali knows about this, and these are formal discussions. And by the way, my dear brothers and sisters, I came across a number of situations where the marriage was broken down because of this kind of discussion. The wali checked the mobile of his daughter. He found that there was an indecent discussion. He became angry with the brother. He went to the brother, he went to his family and said, no. I came across a few cases. I came across a few cases, and this might lead us to another important discussion, which is the precautions that need to be taken into consideration in order to limit this relationship and not making it leading to haram. Yeah? But what I said that we came across a number of situations where the proposed marriage came to an end because the brother, he went too much in discussing things with the sister. Yeah? In one of the situations, the father refused and he said, this person, I cannot trust him. He is claiming that he's discussing matters related to their marriage, and he was discussing some indecent issues. Yeah? I don't want to mention some of the cases that I came across. Wallahi, a sister once, she was shocked. She called me and she said, Sheikh, my fiancé, we agreed to get married, etc. And he texted me once asking me a very horrible question. Yeah? Related to intimacy, related to sexual relationship. Yeah? And it was very embarrassing. It is very embarrassing for me even to mention it in front of the camera. What kind of question he asked her. I said, Wallahi, sister, you need to think carefully about this person. If he's asking you this question during this period, then there is a problem here.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We will continue after the break on the topic of the engagement period, the khitbah, and we'll see what is allowed and what is not allowed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Where truth is hidden, misleading quotations create confusion. Where truth is hidden, lack of knowledge and wisdom cause upheaval and commotion. Where truth is hidden, manipulated scriptures and twisted facts emerge. This very hidden truth creates false propaganda, mayhem, chaos, disorder, and turmoil in our lives and the world order. But is there anyone with courage and wisdom? What is the truth, and who has the courage to expose it? Because it's the right to know the truth.
Watch truth prevail and lies perish in Truth Exposed by Dr. Zakir Naik.
Every Sunday to Friday at 9 p.m. and repeat telecast at 7:30 a.m. UK on Peace TV.
Most countries of the world ban bullying. They fight it in their schools and universities. A lot of us are being bullied differently every single day. Some come up to us and say, do this, while others say, don't you dare. Some say this is halal, while others say, nope, this is haram. Are you confused? Do you feel lost? Join me in Umdat al-Ahkam, where, with the grace of Allah, we will learn the proper knowledge from the Quran and from the Sunnah, which would help stop this kind of bullying.
Join Asim Al Hakim in Umdatul Ahkam next on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to this discussion with Sheikh Haitham Al Haddad and myself, where we will be talking about the limits in terms of the duration or the period of engagement, or the khitbah.
Yeah, I was saying that the brothers and the sisters, they have to be careful, because the nature of that relationship encourages them to go beyond the Shar'i limits. And subhanallah, the shaitan, my dear brothers and sisters, the shaitan is waiting to spoil this kind of relationship. And I came across a number of cases where this relationship was spoiled because you went beyond the limits. This is from one side, that the wali comes across the kind of discussion between his daughter and this man proposing to her, and then he becomes angry, and then he refuses this proposal. He refuses the brother. When he refuses the brother is already attached to the sister. The daughter is already attached to the brother. And then they said, well, what shall we do? In fact, one of the recent cases that I came across, the brother became so attached to the sister became so attached to the brother. The father knew that there was an indecent discussion between them. He refused the proposal. Now the brother is saying that, listen, as the father promised me to get married, I am allowed to marry to her secretly. And he was adamant to do it, to do the nikah secretly. Obviously, in Britain, he can do this secretly. All of this happened because of what? Because of this going beyond the limits. And this is a common problem.
This actually leads on to a very good question about whether the nikah is able to be done in secret. Does this invalidate?
Okay, we will discuss this. This is a big issue, the nikah. Can it be done in secret or not? But before we move to the nikah, I would like to mention the other side of the story. In many cases, the brother and the sister fall into haram during the engagement. Because the relationship now is loose. And the families, they know that they are engaged to each other. In some culture, they are very loose. In some cultures, they treat them as if they were married. Yes, he is allowed to go and pick her, and they go to a restaurant and enjoy their time, and then he drops her. They stay together for a long period of time. The only thing is they are not allowed to stay in a hotel privately, and they are not allowed to have full sexual relationship. Other than that, they are allowed to do anything. They have the impression that they need to understand each other. And subhanallah, the longer this period is, the likelihood of breakdown. Why? Because we highlighted this, or we mentioned it previously. See, if the man knows that I can run away from this sister if I see something that I don't like, there is no commitment, he will run away from her whenever he sees something that he doesn't like. Similarly, when she sees that there is something she doesn't like,
she can do the same.
She will do the same thing. But if I got married to my wife, and now she is my wife, if I see something I don't like, khalas, she's my wife. Now I want to divorce her. Divorce is not an easy issue. But if she's not my wife, and I can say, just salamu alaikum, finish, done, khalas, she goes her way, I go my way. The minute I see something that I don't like, we depart from each other. So that's why we advise that this period should not be a long period. This is one thing. The other thing, which I was talking about, they have to observe the Shari'i rulings. He is a stranger, she is a stranger, no relationship between both of them at all. In fact, as we discussed with this issue of discussion, conversation, etc., it is likelihood that it will go beyond the limits. I came across a number of cases where the man have full sexual relationship with his fiancée, with the khatiba, before the marriage. In fact, one of the very sad cases that I came across, they said that, Sheikh, it happened that 3 days before the actual aqd, we fell in haram. Then what happened? Look at this. And this is a very common scenario. When they come to the actual aqd, and when they start living with each other as a husband and wife, during the first night, subhanallah, they remember the haram. The shaitan, it reminds them of the haram that happened between both of them. In a number of cases, the husband, he just feel pushed away. And he says, well, you slept with me. The husband says to his wife, you slept with me and I was not your husband. I cannot trust you anymore. And they finish it as a result of this. In another scenario, I remember, again, a few cases, the brother, let me mention this scenario. In this scenario, they came, applied to the Sharia Council to ask about the lineage of their child. I said to them, what is the story? They said the following: we were engaged, and during the engagement, we had haram together. The shaitan, beautifies the desire and beautifies the haram relationship, and we fell in the relationship, full relationship. She became pregnant. They were planning to get married after a few months, but they pushed their parents, because she became pregnant, to get married. Yeah, quickly. They managed to get married. And then she had the child. And the mother said, well, but you became pregnant, this is not 9 months, this is 8 months and a half, how come, blah, blah. Anyway, they managed to do it. But these questions triggered the incident that happened between them. That this pregnancy took place before what?
Before the actual nikah.
Before the actual nikah. The actual nikah makes it halal for them to sleep together. Without nikah, even if there is a promise to get married, it is haram. So then they said, well, is our child now a legitimate child, or he or she is haram child? Can we call this child so-and-so, the son or the daughter of so-and-so? Because he or she was conceived
before the actual marriage,
out of the wedlock. And that problem caused so many problems in their marriage. And when they came, they were under tension. In another scenario, something similar happened like this. And the daughter refused, or the wife refused to call the son or the daughter as his son. She said, we have to give him another name because he was conceived out of the wedlock. And he said, no, so and so. The scholar said, it can be done in the normal circumstances. Definitely this pregnancy is from me, etc., etc. Okay? Now I remembered another case. Wallahi, a very sad case. And that's why, my dear brothers and sisters, be careful of this period. And I advise the parents to fear Allah and to minimize this period as much as they can. Some parents, they say we cannot have the aqd unless we have a big wedding. Because of the big wedding, they spoil the life of their children. I always say to them, have the nikah, the aqd. And then later on, if something happened, alhamdulillah. Yeah? Okay, have the aqd and keep your son with you, keep your daughter with you, control the relationship. They don't listen. In some cultures, they don't accept it at all.
I think it's important to make it clear maybe that there is no problem between the time we have the nikah and the actual celebration, the wedding.
Yes, wallahi, this is a good point. There is no problem if you have 10 years. They had the contract, the actual qabul, I marry you, and then 10 years later, they will have the wedding and they're called rukhsati, and yeah, there is no problem. In one of the very sad cases, a sister came to me, subhanallah. She was engaged to the brother, she was 7 or 8 months, and she was crying, and she said, this pregnancy is from my fiancé, and now I hate him. And my family hate him. He took advantage of me. I was vulnerable. I said to her, now you will blame him, he will blame you. And she said, Sheikh, this is from him, but I don't want to marry him anymore. She said this. What is the solution? All of this is happening because of what? Because of not following the guidelines of Sharia. Yeah? The Prophet ﷺ said, no man should be in a seclusion state with what? With an unmahram lady. Why? The shaitan will be what? The third. He will beautify them to each other.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We've unfortunately run out of time.
Maybe this will be enough, inshallah, about the khutbah. Okay? And inshallah, we need to move to another subject. Inshallah.
Dear brothers and sisters, please come back to us in the next episode where we will continue this title on marriage and divorce and see what other topics the Shaykh would like to explain to us and discuss, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي ما قال النبي هو الصحيح نكاح مبارك There is joy, there is happiness in this union, let there always be bliss. Allah will bless your home with light, your heart with never-ending delight. Two worlds today have now become one. The road ahead is as bright as the sun. Oh Allah, keep this marriage so strong. In your hands does their future belong.
The value of money in the hereafter will be measured by its proper use in the present.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة.
According to the glorious Quran, one of the best ways to use your money is to spend it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by spreading His message of Islam. Peace TV is a non-profit Islamic satellite television channel that is primarily dedicated for just that cause.